2 years ago, the company 23andMe was poised to revolutionize personal genetic medicine with a $99 saliva kit. It offered to analyze your DNA, revealing your risk from health threats like diabetes, heart disease, and breast cancer. But the FDA then sent a scathing warning letter ordering 23andMe to halt the sales and stop giving customers a health analyst. The Fed said this. They said that 23andMe wouldn't cooperate and ignored inquiries for 6 months. The agency said it was concerned about the public health consequences of inaccurate results. First on CBS this morning, the CEO and co-founder of 23andMe, Anne Wojcicki, is back with a major announcement about its future. Good morning to you, Anne.
Good morning.
Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
You were smiling, Anne, but the FDA was very, very tough on the company.
Yeah, you know, we got a warning letter. We were on the market for about 7 years, and we've been communicating with the FDA. But it was part of what I think we've learned is that there is a way of communicating, and we were obviously communicating incorrectly. So after 2 years of being off, not returning health reports to customers, we're super excited that we've actually gone through the whole process, and we are now the only company back on the market with a direct-to-consumer genetic test product. So anyone can go online, they can buy 23andMe, and they can learn about their genome, and they can start learning about their health now, actually without a physician, without a genetic counselor, with a saliva test at home.
So it's your relaunch, and what's different this time as opposed to last time?
What's different? The entire experience is different. And so part of what we did is we took the last 7 years of what we've learned from them, from all of our customers, and we've completely redesigned the process, incorporating a lot more features about family, a lot more features for ancestry. We also are more limited at this moment with healthcare information. So we're returning back all the carrier status information, so things like cystic fibrosis reports and other things that you could potentially pass down to children, as well as traits and ANSA in wellness.
You previously were restricted from, in these new tests, like things like cancer or heart disease. What are some other things you can't test for now because of these FDA restrictions?
Yeah, there's some of the genetic risk factors, what we call them. So, you know, breast cancer, different types of diseases you might get, as well as pharmacogenetics, so drug response. But those are all things that we're working with the FDA to see, can we actually eventually bring that back to the consumer?
And their concern was what? That people wouldn't know how to read this information. If you get back previously, that, and you did this yourself, that you have a 60% likelihood of getting breast cancer, they were worried that people couldn't process that information themselves.
There's concern. They wanted us to do all the standard accuracy testing, and they want us to do comprehension studies. So we did an amazing amount of comprehension work. And we've seen now with our new designed reports is that we have over 90% user comprehension. So anyone in the country, any education level, whether they got this as a gift or they bought it themselves, can actually get it. And we're seeing over 90% comprehension of this relatively complicated genetic information.
Speaking of that, where is the cutting edge today in terms of where we might expect to be in the next 5 years?
So my hope is that one day you walk into your doctor and they say, Charlie, based on all the data we have from your Fitbit, all the diet information you have, based on your genome, based on your family history, this is what you're at risk for. And they have a high confidence of that risk, and that you could potentially do things to really actually have a better outcome. And that's part of the
I don't understand why you can't do that now.
Well, part of it is that there's actually not a lot of data. And that's one of the missions of 23andMe, is that we're enabling the consumers to all come together on this research mission. So we have over 1 million people who have done 23andMe. We ask our customers to fill out information about themselves. So it might be left-handed, right-handed, prostate cancer, heart disease, and we do research. Lifestyle. And so we're trying to collect enough information so that we can actually really give you phenomenal risk predictions.
So the information base is what it is.
Correct.
Building the database is what is the critical factor.
Right. We know sharing information, all of this stuff is good. The more we have, the more we can protect our health. On the flip side, are the privacy concerns. And recent reports that law enforcement could request this DNA information from 23andMe. What are you saying about how to protect people's privacy on this information?
So one of the reasons why we set this up as a direct-to-consumer company instead of going through your insurance company is we believe this is sensitive information and that you should own it. And if you're paying for it, you actually own it, and you control who you're sharing with it, who you're sharing your genetic information with. So we enable you to share, but it's entirely within your control. There's protections in place like the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, known as GINA, where your information, your genetic information, cannot be used to discriminate against you by employers or by insurance companies. And so 23andMe as a company, we do everything we can to protect your privacy. And we've said under subpoenas, et cetera, we would do everything we can to fight those. Obviously, you have to comply with sort of basic law enforcement. But we would do everything.
Have you received, Ann, requests from law enforcement for people's DNA?
We've never had to hand it over.
No,
and we've also said is in our privacy policy, we say that if we for some reason had to, we would notify the individuals, assuming it doesn't interfere with the
And then
order.
let me just ask you this. 23andMe is owned by Google. What about the larger concern that someday Google will control, know the DNA of tens of thousands, millions of people?
So Google is a shareholder. And so they're a very small shareholder compared to everybody else that we actually have there. And so they've been really helpful with, if you can think about things like big data and how are you going to analyze, if we get to Charlie's question, how are we actually going to give phenomenal risk predictions? We're going to do that by actually having phenomenal analysis of the data.
Thank you.
23andMe is back.
Yes,
We're back.
Bottom line.
Thank you so much.